What's good? I'm Woog, and this is guaranteed to deepen your appreciation for hip-hop. When combining production and rapping, the two people that have made the largest impact in rap history are Dr. Dre and Kanye West. There are better rappers than both. There may even be better producers than both, though that's a much tougher argument to make. But in totality, musically, from entering the studio to coming out with a finished product, it doesn't get any better than these two. We know that Dr. Dre isn't an MC in the traditional sense. He isn't a writer. He isn't a lyricist. His ghostwriters have included Ice Cube, the D.o.a.t, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, and others. But when you step into the booth, you have to deliver something that is going public. You have to embody a character. You have to sell it based on your performance on the mic. And Dre pulls it off. Puffy isn't a writer. A visionary, yes, but not a writer. But he had to do the same on his albums, and he did it pretty well. The reason I don't have him among the top two is because he wasn't making the beats for Bad Boy. He would have Easy Mo B, Chucky Thompson, Rashad Smith, and Pope from Trackmasters, and then later on, Stevie J, Nasheem Myrick, Amin Ra, D-Dot, and so on. What is undeniable is the impact that Dr. Dre's The Chronic and 2001 made on music of their eras. And while his other two albums, The Aftermath Presents and most recently Compton, didn't have the same levels of success, look at his musical contributions to several other classics, producing all of Snoop's Doggy Style, NWA's 2 albums and EP, producing the biggest hits from off the Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP, except for The Way I Am, Eminem actually produced that one himself, 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying, The Game's debut, the documentary, also produced a couple of hits from off Tupac's All Eyes on Me, including both versions of California Love, where he also rapped on the first verse, the Dog Pound's Dog Food, The Eminem Show, 50 Cent's The Massacre, and even Jay-Z's return from retirement album, Kingdom Come. He also produced and performed on his 1995 hit Keep Their Heads Ringing from the Friday soundtrack, produced Lady of Rage's hit Afro Puffs, The Firm's Phone Tap, Mary J. Blige's #1 smash Family Affair, and others. Who matches that track record in both quality and magnitude of success? He's produced and performed on some of rap's biggest hits in multiple eras, released 2 classic albums as the lead artist Dr. Dre, and was the musical backbone and mentor of 3 of rap's biggest all-time successes, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, and 50 Cent. 4 if you want to count Kendrick Lamar, though he doesn't really produce for Kendrick. His most impactful solo single, Nothing But a G-Thing, changed the whole trajectory of hip-hop. One of the biggest rap classics ever, might be one of the greatest songs of the 90s, which is why the only person that can match that is Kanye West. Keep in mind, we're talking combination, rapping, producing, influencing the sound of whatever project. One of the knocks that people lob at Kanye, among several, is that he's been known to work with additional writers and ghostwriters, only difference being whether or not that writer is officially credited, including Pusha T, Rhymefest, and others. And that's been less common knowledge than with Dre, who everyone's known has not been the writer of the words that you hear on Dre tracks. But Kanye has written a lot, and he's been an outstanding vocal performer on his songs. And if others are doing some of the writing, well, hell, there's definitely some character consistency in the guy whose verses are being written for, and you sure get the feeling that Kanye's mind and thoughts are being expressed in those tracks, more so than Dre, who you feel is kind of being led by whoever is doing the writing. There are just so many lines in Kanye songs that make you say, that's totally Kanye. Only Kanye would say that. For instance, the verses on his first breakout song, Through the Wire. So, ghostwriters or not, Kanye is doing Kanye on his countless, versatile, quality bangers. And Kanye is the only producer-first MC that's also legitimately viewed as a top mainstream MC, lyrically. Eminem, you could argue, is another, since he has done a bunch of quality, successful production, but M is an MC first. Kanye was famously denied the opportunity to rap on songs until Dame Dash finally convinced Jay-Z to give him a shot. Not only did Kanye produce on all of his 7 solo albums, but if you look at his list of production for other artists, especially from 2000 to 2010, it's unbelievable. Talib Kweli's biggest hit, Get By, Alicia Keys' You Don't Know My Name, Stand Up, the #1 smash for Ludacris, which is Luda's biggest hit, Dozens of songs for Jay-Z, including Bonnie and Clyde, The Takeover, Run This Town, Heart of the City, Their Niggas in Paris collab, co-produced by Hit Boy, and a bunch of others. Singles for Janet Jackson, John Legend, produced almost all of Common's two biggest albums, Be and Finding Forever, even a couple of hits for Drake. His production resume is unmatched, and he was the most crucial sound ingredient, again, combining vocals and production from 2004 to 2015. That's over a decade. Not to mention taking a huge risk on his fourth album, 2007's 808s and Heartbreaks, by totally deviating from his super successful formula to explore the use of auto-tune with stripped down and minimalist yet futuristic sounding beats while singing, not rapping, on just about the entire album. While it did do pretty well commercially, less successful than his previous three albums, it also alienated many, but then went on to largely define what will become the backbone of the modern rap trap sound, heavily influencing the sounds of Future, Lil Wayne, Drake, and his main producer, Noah 40 Shabib, as well as the beats of the current prince of production, Metro Boomin. Now I get it, there have been producers whose work you might prefer to either of these two, Jay Dilla, The RZA, Pete Rock, all of whom rap too, but we're talking track records of success over a period of time, behind the boards and on the mic. Black Milk, OC, Solid MCs, Dope Beats. Pimp C, Beats and Rhymes. DJ Quick, maybe the most underrated producer, with several damn good solo albums. Then you've got producer extraordinaires, who also influenced future generations of producers, but didn't really rap. You've got DJ Premier, Marley Marl, Large Professor, Swizz Beatz, Timbaland. Timbo's rapped on a few songs, but nothing really notable. If there was a number 3 to this list, I'd have to say Pharrell. Even though his nerd albums and solo songs, except for Happy and Frontin', weren't huge successes commercially, his production resume is right there with those guys, and he's featured vocally on several of them. Nori, Nothing, Mystical's Shake Your Ass, Jay-Z's Give It To Me, Snoop Dogg's Beautiful and Drop It Like It's Hot, even Daft Punk's Get Lucky. But the top 1 and 2 dudes in rap music history, the MVPs of the studio, if you will, are Yeezy and the DRE. So let me know your thoughts. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.